Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning to this episode of Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have an amazing guest. We have the multi-talented actress and singer Kelsey Marie Edwards. Kelsey is known for her standout role as Abby in Minor Details, as Fairchild in The Wolf of Show Hello, and most recently for her work in the Counterfeit Kid, the comedy series Underdeveloped, and the Tribeca-selected feature Memes and Nightmares. Beyond acting, Kelsey is a gifted musician and YouTuber who inspires audiences with her songs and creative insights, making her a true multi-hyphenate artist. Welcome to the multi-talented Kelsey Marie Edwards, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited to interview you. All right, let's jump straight into it. Take us back. Tell us about your life growing up, your family, and everything relating to that.
Yeah, I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, and I had a pretty unique upbringing. I was raised Mormon for one, which is unique in and of itself, but I was also homeschooled and I was a child actor. And so when I was about 5 years old, my mom was like, "We're getting you into theater." She did theater in high school and she loved it. So I started doing theater at my local like children's theaters in San Antonio, and I would work there as as an employee of the theater. And then like kids kids that were at school would come see our shows, and I was like the only kid in the cast, so it was actually really kind of a unique thing. My brothers were in some shows too, but kind of a unique way to grow up doing like children's theater as a child actor. And then um and then when I was 7, I did my first movie and acted in a movie in Texas, and then we did a lot of pilot seasons in LA as a kid. We go back and forth a lot, so lots of auditioning, lots of working, lots of theater and TV and film and commercials my whole childhood, which was very unique. But it was made possible due to the fact that we were homeschooled. We didn't have to go to school, so that was pretty convenient.
Cool. And tell me about, I guess that was your big break, is being Abby in Minor Details. Minor Details. Sort of. How was that, and how did that really, yeah, how was that experience altogether?
Yeah, that was a really unique experience, and it's funny because I will still have like girls recognize me from that movie even now, and it's been like 16 years. But yeah, I when we made that movie, we made it in Utah, and I don't think any of us had any idea like what it was going to be. Like there's and you usually don't, like you kind of go into
Sure.
making anything with like no expectations. Like I'm just telling a story, I'm just acting and whatever. And we realized it was something when we were hearing like stories at the time, like Redbox and Netflix were holding our movie Minor Details, and they would get reports that the DVD was no longer usable because like little girls were watching it so much like on repeat that the DVDs were no longer functioning. And so once we started hearing that from them, we're like, oh my gosh, like this movie it's really being watched a lot. Like it's kind of like becoming a bit of a cult classic. And none of us anticipated that. Social media was not what it is now at that time, and so we didn't quite get like the TikTok break that would have happened now. But I did have like a bunch of girls adding me on Facebook, and like trying to connect with me on like other platforms with like AIM and Yahoo Messenger and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a pretty crazy time. And like I remember one time I grew up in a very, very small town called Converse, Texas, which is a suburb of San Antonio. And we were at the Walgreens in my neighborhood, which I've literally been to every single day up until that point, of my life. And this little girl looked up at me and was like, "You're Abby from Minor Details." And I was like, "What?" Like in the middle of nowhere, Converse, Texas, at my home Walgreens, like this girl recognizes me. That was crazy. So that was pretty insane. And like I said, it still happens now. I'll have people be like, "I know you from somewhere, but I can't place it." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Like I watched a movie, I watched you growing up my whole childhood." So it's kind of fun. It's a fun little surprise.
Yeah, that's incredible. What's the most challenging part you've ever played?
Most challenging part I have played. My mind immediately goes, well, challenging for different reasons, but I was this character named Liz Fairchild in The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which you mentioned, which was super fun, but it was probably the most demanding physically role that I've like played, because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a bit of a tussle between me and one of the other characters, and we filmed it like overnight at like 2 a.m. It was also the night before my birthday, fun fact. So I was like on set for my birthday. But it was an overnight shoot and we were filming my scenes like from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. It was outside, it was in the cold, in the snow, and my character is like having a traumatic experience. And your body doesn't know the difference between a real, traumatic experience or a perceived one. And so my brain and my body are like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like this is bad. And yeah, we just kept going, we just kept going, we just kept going. And there was not a lot of like downtime or breaks because you just have to get the shot, you don't have like a lot of time. But that was pretty demanding physically, and I like was just like, I'm okay, this is fine. But your body thinks you're like going through this like traumatic experience. Like, I mean, without spoiling it too much, I get yanked down like a mountainside by my ankles, and I'm like firing a weapon and stuff like that. So it's just like a very like high tense scene. And I just was like, oh gosh, like, stressed. But then we got it finally and we wrapped and it was my birthday and they surprised me with cupcakes and it was really nice. But yeah, that was definitely a challenging like scene, I would say, probably the most physically challenging role that I have played. And emotionally, because yeah, it takes a toll on your emotions too. But it was fun. Like I would love to do it again. I love horror films. I love like thrillers. I'm like, throw me in. I want to do it again.
That's so cool. Um, what do you love most about acting?
Love getting to tell a story and really like embody someone else's journey. I've always felt like it's a bit of a blessing and a curse, but I've always been a bit of like a very empathetic person, like very good at like feeling how someone might be feeling or understanding what they might be going through or whatever. And I think that has made me a better actor because acting is creating like it's creating a false situation but making it feel real. And so in order to do that, you have to understand how somebody would be feeling in that moment, what they might be experiencing. And yeah, I like bringing a story to life. I like bringing a character to life. I like bringing a different perception to life. I enjoy the challenge of getting to be someone that's not me. And those are often really hard. Like there's so many roles that are easy to play because they just feel like an extension of yourself, right? Where you're just like, this isn't really that different. And then every now and then you get a character that you have to play where you're just like, this is so not me. Like Abby in Minor Details, for example, she's kind of a brat. And I'm like, I don't think of myself that way. So like having to be mean and having it to feel normal, like, I don't know. Granted, I was like 14 at the time. I didn't really have the skill set as an actor that I have now as an adult, but still like getting, playing something that's so opposite of you is always like a fun little challenge. I like that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Um, and tell me about your music and YouTube.
Oh yeah. Well, I I love music. I've been releasing music, I mean, for a while now. Although I had a song that came out a couple years ago that was called Life in a Box that was I mentioned at the start that I was raised Mormon and I lived as a Mormon for a very long time. And everybody knew that I was Mormon and it was kind of just like, this is who Kelsey is. But in about 2019 I had like a shift of a lot of things, but I decided to leave the Mormon church, and it took me a long time to be able to publicly share it because it's not always something that people are thrilled about. And so I wrote this song called Life in a Box that was probably my most impactful thing that I've ever released, and um, very quickly like took off in the ex-Mormon community because people just felt like, wow, this is like something that it's like you put my words into a song. It's like I feel like I could have written this myself, and that's such a powerful thing to hear as an artist too, because it's like, well, this came from the pages of my diary, like this came from my journal. So
Right.
I got to share something that meant so much to me and have it also mean something to them, and that was really cool. So I think that like that's like one of my, you just said tell me about your music, but I'm like that's what comes to mind is like why I even made music and why it means so much to me is the ability to connect with other people. And then back in the day on YouTube, I was doing like cringy little YouTube music videos, but and those are fun. I look back at them now and laugh, and I'm like, oh, we're just making art, we're just making telling stories. Now I use YouTube more for like my short form content, and occasionally we'll probably do, or soon we'll probably do long form as well. Um, but yeah, back in the day, I was doing all sorts of fun little music videos that are funny to look at now. But yeah, I think it's such a cool way to connect with people through music.
Well, it's impressive. And what do you prefer, acting or doing music?
I wouldn't say that I have like one or the other. I love them both. Like I think they're both like really profound in their own unique ways. I think that storytelling is it's just it is what it is. It's just like it depends on the medium, you know? And so I mean, I think if you like really made me choose, I would say I've been an actor for, well, I've been a singer for my whole life too. I can't remember a time I wasn't singing. I've done them both like equally. I'm probably pursuing acting a little bit more aggressively right now in the sense that like I'm auditioning all the time. I'm constantly writing things. I'm constantly making things. I'm like going to film festivals. Like it's probably my number one priority, but like music is always a part of me and will always be a part of me. And I will continue singing and releasing and making music as it comes to me, you know, as well. The thing I like about music is that like you can just make it and no one can tell you like, you know, we have to cast you or like we have to give you a role. It's like, well, I just want to tell this, I want to write the song and I'm going to make the song, I'm going to release it. And like whether you want me to or not, you know? Whereas like sometimes being an actor, it just feels like you have to, unless you're making your own stuff, you just kind of wait to be cast in a role, wait to be chosen for something. And I'm like, I don't want to wait. I want to tell my own stories. So yeah.
Wonderful. Um, is there a pivotal moment when you look back at your career that really stands out for you that you're like, wow, this really changed my trajectory or projection?
Um, that's a great question. There's a couple that I can think of. I mean, I was a child actor, as I mentioned, and I like I lived and breathed the film industry as a kid. My parents got divorced when I was 15. My dad left, and we kind of like it kind of went into like survival mode at that point. And so I walked away from acting for the time being because there just wasn't capacity, there wasn't money, there wasn't time, there wasn't anything. It was just like, right, how do we survive now? And I took a really long break from acting from that point forward. And it wasn't until like my senior year of college, and also like I decided, okay, I need to be like serious. I need to be professional. I need to like be an adult and not do like the thing I want to do. I need to like get a big girl job, right? So then I like kind of put that dream to the side. Went to college, got a 4 year degree, went to BYU, studied public relations, and it wasn't until my senior year of college that I realized like I hate this. I don't want to do this. Like I wasn't built for this life. I wasn't built for a 9 to 5. I wasn't built to like work at a, you know, corporate company for the rest of my life. Like I am a creative and I have big dreams and I have ideas and things I want to share. And so I went on a trip to Europe in 2017 that really changed the game for me. And it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things. Not only did it help me realize I was needing to leave the church, but also helped me realize I'm not interested in, you know, yeah, like kind of doing things that I was doing anymore. So I came back from that trip and I went full on in my creative career and I started my YouTube channel and I started creating content and I started creating music and I started auditioning more and like I really just like doubled down and was like, nope, I'm doing it. And I graduated from BYU and all my friends had jobs lined up and I was like, I'm doing my own thing. Like it's just kind of funny. And I did that pretty consistently for like a year or two. I was very passionate about it. And then in 2019, I went out to LA, and that also like changed the huge trajectory of my life as well, and gave me, you know, just gave me a lot of opportunities in LA and a lot of networking and, you know, I still retain like a place in Utah, so like back and forth between Utah and LA a lot, but like just having that extra footing in LA, I was like, wow, this is like really cool. It's changed the game for me a lot. So yeah, those would be the two things I would say with like 2017, that Europe trip, and then 2019, like opening up a footing in LA and being like, oh, there's like so much more out here, you know?
Yeah, that's terrific. What do you want your legacy to be?
I I don't want my legacy to be. That's a great question. Um, I feel like I always one of the things I'm really passionate about is like helping inspire other people to believe that like they are capable of the life that they crave. I think a lot of us have big dreams, but a lot of us have had them stomped out by family or by parents or by culture or by society. And so I would love like my legacy to be like, hey, that girl helped me feel less alone and she helped me feel like I could do it too, you know? Um, yeah, like really encourage people to find the strength and the beauty within them. Um, yeah, one of the things I'm really passionate about now and in my career right now is I help other artists and creatives with like becoming the main character of their life, and letting go of limiting beliefs, letting go of stories that are keeping them stuck, and helping them realize their own strength and their own power to create their life and to like literally be the main character. So I think that tracks with what I'm saying I would like my legacy to be. Is yeah, I hope that I can help people like really step into their own power.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Um,
Thanks.
and no, it's really good. What is the best compliment you've ever received from someone?
Best compliment I've ever received. Hmm. Um, that's a good question. I think like the compliments that mean the most are honestly the ones that I got over Life in a Box, my song, because people just like couldn't stop telling me how much it meant to them and couldn't stop telling me that the song was like one of the most impactful things they'd ever listened to, that it changed their life, that they've listened to it on repeat. Honestly, when someone tells me that they've used my song to open up a conversation with a family member about a hard topic, like a lot of people will say, I used your song to tell my mom that like I'm leaving the Mormon church, or I used your song to talk to my in-laws about it. That is like such a huge compliment, because it's just like, to me it says like, you were able to say the things that I haven't always known how to say, and I was able to say that through a song, and that to me, like, that's such a huge compliment. It, like, makes me want to cry. Or some people have gotten my lyrics like tattooed on their body, or like parts of Life in a Box on their body, or parts of other songs, like they've gotten tattoos, they've created their own art out of it. That's probably the biggest best compliment that I can think of, like when someone like likes your work enough to like put it on themselves forever. I'm like, whoa.
Wow, that's incredible. Um, would you say that's your greatest achievement in life? Like, what is your greatest achievement when you look back?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, I think my greatest achievement is building a life that I'm really proud of, a life that's given me a lot of freedom, a life that has given me, like I've always had dreams, I've always had goals, I've always had visions, but I've always gone after the things that I've wanted. And I think that's probably my greatest accomplishment, is that I haven't stopped. Like I just yeah, I'm proud of what I've committed myself to. And of course there's always more that I could do, and there's always more that I will do and want to do, and I'll always have moments where I feel like I haven't done enough. But I think at the end of the day, like when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm proud of who I've become. I love my family. I have a happy life. I'm grateful for the life that I've created and for all the things that have come my way. And um, there's much more to do, but like I'm grateful for what I've done up until this point.
Yeah, cool. Who's had the biggest impact on your life?
Biggest impact on my life. Mm, it depends on which sphere. Like, um, I mean, my mom probably is like, I mean, just as like as around a whole, I'm like, I can think of like leaders and teachers and authors and whatever, but like if we're boiling it down to like the one person that's had the biggest impact would definitely be my mom. I mean, she has done so much for me and for my brothers, and from getting me into the film industry at a young age to like continue supporting me. And our life fell when my dad left, and she really had nothing. And the way that she fought to provide for us and still give us opportunities, and still help us. Like I started in ballroom dance at that time, so she did everything that she could to like make sure that I had opportunities to do ballroom dancing. And she would even trade. She didn't have money to like pay for lessons for me, or like private lessons, so she would trade like trade labor, so that I could have lessons with like a private instructor. And I just like look at all the sacrifices that she made. And yeah, I was moving to Utah, and I got on a ballroom team in Utah that was a lot better than the team that I had been working with in Texas. But I wasn't ready, because I just like I needed to be better to play at that level. So that's why like I had those private lessons, and she was doing everything that she could to make sure that I could be ready. So anyways, long story short, tangent, but my mother has impacted me a lot and continues to impact me. She's so supportive and so loving and so caring. And yeah, very grateful for her.
Oh, that's enlightening. Um, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. Um, I don't know if this is a piece of advice, but it's something that I believe, which is that everything is working out for me and life is happening for me, not to me. And I don't really remember maybe who was the first person who said that or where was the first place that I found it, but that's been a motto that I've held dear when things fall apart or when things don't go the way you want them to. When there's like unforeseen issues, it's a constant reminder, like everything is happening for me, everything is working out for me. You cannot miss what is meant for you. And I really think that's an important thing to remember because there's so little that we have control over, but to remember that it's all happening for you, not to you, is such a gift.
Yeah, I agree. And what is your personal definition of success?
I think like being happy, doing what I'm doing. I think like making an impact, doing the things that I love, and helping other people with like my passions and my skills. I think that's like, but at the end of the day, like as long as I'm happy and as long as I feel like I am making a difference in the world, I think that's successful. Like it's easy to think success is money or whatever, like millions of dollars or something like that. But I think knowing that I've done my best, that I'm helping people, and that I'm happy is like that's what I hope to achieve in my life.
Yeah, cool. And what's a mistake that you've made that's really taught you?
Um, Man, which one? I feel like I have made so many mistakes. What's funny is that the biggest mistake that I feel like is when I don't quit something soon enough. Like I tend to hold on to things a lot because I don't want to let go. I don't want to quit. I don't want to be a quitter. I want to make it work. Blah 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 blah. But I find that when I hold on, I I end up delaying the opportunities, and also it becomes so crystal clear that I have to go that like a lot of times like the thing, if I could have just left it peacefully, but because I didn't listen, I just like I get shoved out of it and it, like burns down around me, and it's like very clear like okay, this is over. So I think the biggest mistake is not leaving soon enough situations when I felt like I should leave, whether it was like my corporate job or like a roommate situation or a job, another like like a project, work situation, things that I like could tell for a while like this is working, but I like still try to make it work, and then it like blew up. So yeah, the big that's my biggest mistake that I keep making, and I learn every time from it to just let go when I feel the call to let go. Not everything's meant to last forever, you know?
Yeah, gotcha. What's something fans would know about you?
I'm a vegetarian. I don't advertise that too much, but I am a vegetarian. And I I was gonna say I love solo traveling, but I feel like most people who follow me already know that because they see me travel all the time. I I often like, okay, this is something most people probably don't know, is that there's this pull sometimes that I have, and I'm always torn between it. There's a part of me that wants to just like sell all my stuff and go just travel the world forever and just be a digital nomad, and like no one would ever know where I'm at, and like throw my phone away. I mean, just not have a social media or whatever. Like there's a part of me that craves like that so much. And then of course there's a part of me that like loves the film industry and content and social media and acting and music, and it's like these two sides of me are often at war where like yeah, some days I just like want to go be a monk in the woods and meditate in Bali and stuff like that. So
What what's a fear that you've overcome that's really helped you?
I think a fear that I'm always working on overcoming is like the fear of being seen and the fear of success. I think that there are beliefs that are handed down to us often from childhood, from parents, from family, from culture, from community, from society, from media, you name it, that says that being seen is scary. People can judge you, people can, think poorly of you, whatever, whatever. Like, I think there is a world where society wants us to believe that it's safer to just not be seen. It's safer to hide. And so I've really worked on that a lot. I still am always. I feel like I have moments where I'm really good at it and moments where I'm less good at it. Moments where I'm super good at just like, sharing vulnerably, and others where I'm like, oh, that's terrifying. But I think that's a huge fear. And I also help artists and creatives with this a lot too, is the fear of being seen. Because we have to be willing to be perceived to be able to have the careers that we want to be perceived vulnerably, to be perceived authentically. And that's the difference usually between someone who does really well in their career and on social media and as an actor versus someone who does not, is their willingness to be seen and their willingness to be perceived vulnerably, authentically in the moment. And so working on that a lot. And then also my fear of success. I realized like maybe a year and a half ago that we all have a level of success that we feel like we're worthy of. There's like a ceiling to it where like I'm worthy of this level of success, but I'm not worthy of like this level of success. And it's subconscious. We don't often realize that it's there. But I was bumping up against mine for a very long time, just like fluctuating between the same, area of success. And it wasn't until I realized, like, oh crap, I think I have a fear that being more successful than I currently am is going to cause me problems down the road, or is going to be painful, or people will leave me, people will judge me. The higher you climb, the higher you can fall, right? Like there's a benefit to staying only at a certain level, because then you can't really disappoint people too much, can't really disappoint yourself too much because you never got that high. So anyways, overcoming the fear of success and the fear of being seen have been like very huge, yeah, game changers for me in my career, and have opened up, like, once I kind of figured out, like, and I still am like always figuring out social media, but I didn't have my videos were like really struggling for a long time, and then I kind of broke through the fear of success and the fear of being seen, and then I had like multiple videos like pop off after that. Like I had a video hit like 500,000 views, and then just like had other videos like pop off, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something to this, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then
right.
again,
Yeah.
I'm still working on it, not all, but yeah.
No, that's amazing. And where is your favorite place to travel to? If you had one place right now you could go travel to, where would it be?
Um, let's see. There's like, okay, in terms of like where I'd go back to, Bali. Oh my gosh, I love Bali. Bali is the best. It has the best quality of life. It's so cheap there. You get massages and you can get facials and you can stay in these super nice hotels for really cheap, and getting around is so easy, and the food is amazing. Like Bali is the best in my opinion. It's so fun. And in terms of like somewhere I've never been before, I would love to go to New Zealand. That's where I would like pack up and go to. I also love London. Like London is such a fun place that really calls me all the time too. So Bali and London are two of my favorite places. And then yeah, I really would love to go to New Zealand.
Oh,
I've been to
wonderful.
Australia, but I haven't been to New Zealand.
Oh,
I've
well,
been
you
to
got to jump
Sydney
over. You got to
and
jump over.
Melbourne.
You got to
I
jump
know.
over to
Yeah,
New
I should have.
Zealand.
I should have done it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was so close. Well, and you have you been to Bali since it's so close for you?
Yeah, I've been there 2017. I went there. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
great.
love it.
I
It's
love it.
amazing. Yeah. And if you were, let's go here. If you were 18 again and you could change anything, it could be personally or professionally, what would you change?
18, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I would not stress so much about college, and I did serve a Mormon mission, which now that I've left the church, I probably, if I like to go back, I'd be like, it was a nice experience. Don't necessarily need to do that, but I think what I would do is I would tell myself to just go all in on social media as an 18-year-old. I'd be like, forget everything, make a TikTok or a Musically at the time every single day, make Instagram posts every single day, do not stop, like be relentless and be so obsessed with social media. Make that your full-time thing right now. That's what I wish I could do when I was 18. I figured it out a few years later, but man, I would have given myself a leg up if I'd started at 18.
Well, that's sensational. Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. I've thoroughly enjoyed the interview. It's incredible, obviously, your career and everything you're going to be doing in the future. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It was great chatting with you.
Yeah, same with you. You're welcome.